So, Victoria, this is a German film, although actually the majority of it is actually spoken in English language, but it is a German film. It focuses on a girl called Victoria. She has come over from Spain and she's living and working in Berlin, and the film starts and she is on a night out in a nightclub. It's about 4 a.m. She's leaving the nightclub, and as she leaves, she bumps into a group of men who are trying to get into the nightclub, and they're not allowed in because they haven't got any money. And she ends up then leaving the nightclub and getting to know these guys and chatting to them, and basically kind of becomes friends with one of them, starts flirting with one of them, follows them back to their place. They go and sit on the roof and get to know each other a little bit. And the film then sort of tracks the next couple of hours of their night as she starts to discover that these guys might not be exactly as innocent as she thinks they are, and she kind of gets pulled in to a big sort of crime story that they are involved in, and the story literally takes place in real time between about 4 a.m. and about 7 a.m, and it's completely filmed in one take. So literally the camera starts running at the beginning of the film. She's in the nightclub. The cameraman follows her around then for the next 2.5 hours, and then cuts and finishes. So,
which is insane.
Yeah.
And it's such a like offhand thing to say almost.
Yeah.
Oh, it's all done in one take. And it's annoying almost that Birdman has happened, because Birdman is supposed to look like it's done in all in one take, but this is actually done in all one take. And Birdman is a better film, but
it is absolutely not a better film.
I think it's a better film.
Oh, whoa, okay.
But we'll go into this later.
Yeah.
But I think the feat of Victoria is much more incredible and deserves more accolades in that respect.
Well, it's more like there's a film called Russian Ark which did it first, and that is all one take, and that was from about 10 years ago or so. But that was actually quite boring, and it was more, again, look at this, we're doing it with this many people, this many sets, all in one take. But it's very kind of slow paced, and it's very much like the history of this Russian building and the revolution.
Oh, Christ.
And it's
awful.
like, so people pop up in different eras. So like you go into one room and there's like people in the 1700s, and you go into another, and it's clever in the way it's done, but it's a little bit boring.
Whereas actually the choreography of this is amazing.
A really, I think, exciting, thrilling, tense film, and I don't want to go too much into the story.
No, I don't think we should.
What's really great is that it is you feel like you're in completely unknown territory when it starts, and even in the first 30 minutes, you're a bit like, "Where's this going?" It's quite slow. And then as the story slowly starts to unravel and starts to happen before your eyes, it gets more and more thrilling and exciting and tense, I think, at least. Yeah.
No, I agree. I think the first 20 minutes, it was very much in danger of losing me.
Yes, I noticed.
And I was starting to get a little bit bored.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's a bit unfair. I think I loved that you essentially become another member of this group of people.
Yes, exactly.
You know, you
just
very
feel like
much
you're there with them.
Yeah. And it's because it's one of those things that it's so recognisable and so everyday. I don't mean about, I would never ever go off with a group of guys that I met in a club, or a group of girls even, probably, you know.
No,
I'd never
but I don't know, everyone knows a girl that would.
It's a very recognisable scenario, and everyone's had those sort of conversations. Normally you're with other people. Kind of reminded me of travelling, where you instantly make friends with people, and then you're just away, and that's it, and you have this bond for life, or at least for the next month.
And it was exactly that, wasn't it? Because this girl was travelling, essentially. She'd come over to Berlin. She didn't speak German.
She was
She's
by
over
herself,
there working for a bit by herself.
you know, you think she was incredibly stupid to go off with this group of guys.
She does a lot of stupid things.
Yes, but also very brave.
Yeah.
And you know, I don't think we're giving too much away by saying it's not really sexually terrifying.
No,
you know, it's not like these men are sexual predators.
No,
I feel like it's quite important to say that, because it feels like at the beginning. Yes, there is. But I was just really glad that it didn't go down that route, because that would have been a very obvious, easy route to go down, and it didn't. And the route it did choose to go down wasn't obvious.
No.
And was actually very interesting.
The whole film is so unexpected, I think, unpredictable, just completely unpredictable. And I suppose what I just think is incredible about it is the kind of the passage of time, I suppose. It's that I've never seen a film before where, and regardless of the one take thing, it's the fact that you're just with this character in real time the whole way through, and she's never really off screen, Victoria. She's basically, the camera is kind of in her face the whole way through, so we go wherever she goes.
There's a one moment where she goes not off camera, she's still on camera, but you can't hear what she's saying, and we're actually left with another character for a minute, and that was weird. Yes. I was kind of like, oh, where's she going? What's she doing? What's she saying?
You know, we're so aligned with her.
We're so with her,
and so you feel everything, and you just like her. You're just meeting these guys for the first time. You have no idea what they're going to be like. Are they going to be dangerous? Are they going to be nice?
Do you trust them? Are they funny? Do you fancy them?
She doesn't know Berlin. She doesn't speak the language, and she's getting in cabs, and she's walking into buildings and then into apartment blocks and hotels and various other locations this film takes place in, and you're going, oh my God, I have no idea what's about to happen. I've no idea where we're going now. You know, you're with her every minute of a car journey from A to B. You're with her every second while she's waiting in a lift, you know, and everything, I think, builds that tension because it feels like you're really there with her and you're going through this with her, which is incredible.
And it's, you know, it goes quite extraordinary, the story, but the fact that we're there for those ordinary moments is what makes us so aligned and so involved, because we know exactly what that's like. And it's almost similar to what we were talking about with Anomalisa. So you've got like this snapshot of this hotel room, and it's so ordinary, but we love it because they've made it out of this stop motion sort of puppetry, you know, it's not real, but everything in there is real, down to the air conditioning unit, etc. And in this, it's like the ordinary bits are actually the most exciting because it's ones that we can all relate to and be really involved in and completely understand and completely get. So those, like the minutiae of the conversation, of messing up even a conversation, of stuttering or whatever, and the fact that they are doing this all in one take. So, you know, if they fuck up an hour in, it's kind of like, well, do they keep going or do they start from scratch the next night, which they had to do. They had to do this 3 times, didn't they?
This was their third attempt, their third consecutive night of filming it, and the third attempt. That's what we're watching, the third time filming it. And
so you think, so when someone does mess up what they're saying, which they do, it doesn't feel like they're messing up. It just feels like an ordinary conversation, and you forget how rare that is in film and in theatre. You know,
like what we were just saying with Eddie the Eagle, you've got a true story, but in some ways it's so over stylized, it's so generic. They've ticked every genre box. It doesn't feel like a true story.
Yes, exactly.
I just forget almost that I'm watching a film, that I'm watching actors and I'm watching fiction. It's incredible.
But I think part of that is to do with the camera work and the sound.
Yeah.
So this was probably one of my biggest issues with the movie, and it's one
especially when it starts in the first half hour. Yeah.
And it's one that I totally understand that, you know, they had to do it this way, but for me it's an issue because it feels like you're watching a home movie.
Yes.
You know, the camera
it's very, very cheap,
is
low budget.
So shaky because obviously it's just a man holding it the whole way through. There are no like rails or tracks for this camera to be rolling along.
No.
You know, it's literally on a guy's shoulder, and you get the emphasis of that with how much the camera's shaking and trying to keep up with these people.
Because there's times when the characters are running down the street, and so you literally, the cameraman is just running. And so the camera's kind of shaking from side to side as he's running after them. It's hilarious.
And so sometimes it feels a bit like a news footage, newsreel, or a found footage, or and you know, the characters come in and out of focus quite a lot. There was a couple of moments where I was like, oh, that almost is uncomfortable that she's not in focus because she should be at that moment.
Yes.
And that brings you out of the film a tiny bit, which I know is me being really pernickety.
No, I think that's fair enough.
But then the sound as well, because these guys aren't wearing mics, they're just doing it from the camera mic, I assume, because you can't really see
because we only hear them when they're right near the camera.
Yes, and then when they go away, sometimes the director has kind of put a bit of music over the top, so it doesn't matter if you don't know what they're talking about because you get the gist. They're drunk, they're chatting, doesn't matter what they're saying. And then other moments when they are just off mic and it does sound really crap.
They subtitle the whole film,
so the whole film is subtitled, and again, that sometimes it does take you out of it, I think, but it's quite helpful because sometimes then they lapse into German or Spanish and they subtitle that for us as well. I don't know, it's a slightly awkward technically film, but in terms of what it's accomplished, I think it's incredible.
Yes, I think that
it's a weird juxtaposition.
Now you said Birdman is better. I could not disagree more.
I know, that's because
the fundamental problem I had with Birdman and this film just kind of made
was how smug it was.
Yeah, this film just made me see the light even more with Birdman. It was just that the thing is, Birdman kind of did this thing where it made it look like it was all in one take, and I know it wasn't, and it was a trick, whatever, that's fine, but why was it trying to look like it was in one take? There was no point in it. There was no kind of thematic or systematic. There was no reason for it other than showing off.
Because it wasn't even in real time, was it?
It's not in real time. It's not just following. It's not like a thing where it's like Michael Keaton is the only person in frame the whole time, or it's following him. It doesn't. Sometimes it goes off and it's got Emma Stone and Ed Norton on the roof, and it completely, it has no rules other than the camera's on the whole time, and that's not real either. And so basically all it comes across as is a complete style over substance thing, is a complete, we're just doing this for the hell of it because it looks cool, and there's no reason for it at all. That film could have been, and that's why I like The Revenant a lot more, because I think Alejandro Inarritu knew when to have those long takes in those amazing battle sequences where there was a reason for it, because it was like you were in the heart of this action where arrows flying around, and then he knew also when to cut and when to, because it worked at moments and it didn't at others. And Birdman, for me, there was just no reason for it other than showing off, other than smugness, and this film has a reason for it, because the point is it's a real story, like it's a real time story unfolding in real time, where you're going through this with these characters, so it makes sense to me. So that's what, and in that way I think it's a much better film, and I think the performances are brilliant, if not better than Birdman's performances, because they're so real, again, because I personally completely believed them.
And actually the whole way through I was like, these must be complete unknowns, they must just be people off the street, and they're not, they're actors, which makes it even better actually, because you feel like you're supposed to be watching just people off the street.
Because how good a job do they do of you know, the main girl, of what she goes through from the beginning of the film to the end of the film, and what she's like by the end, and the relationships that they've built. Like you said to me at 1 hour in or something, you're like, it's amazing really, because they've actually only known each other an hour, and suddenly the characters going through this together, but you believe it because you've seen it all.
And also you have seen it all, and you've seen the chemistry build up, but you also know what it's like when you're in that sort of drunken situation to make friends with someone in the space of an hour and suddenly feel like you've known them all your life and that you want to be best friends forever. You know, everyone, well, maybe not everyone has been through that, but certainly I feel like I've been through that in the past.
Totally.
When I was young, you know, this was like 10 years ago.
And I love that the film takes the time at the beginning to really set that up. Like, it's a good half hour of just characters talking to each other.
And it's worth sticking through it.
Piano, and there's these bits in this cafe.
That piano bit, okay, so there's a bit where they go into a cafe, and there's a moment between the two main characters, and that changed the movie for me. So by that, up until that point, I was getting slightly lost and slightly bored, and then there was this incredible, beautiful moment which almost feels like it didn't really belong in this movie. You know, it was so incredible. Stunning, and hopefully real. I'm assuming it was real.
She was really, that was real.
And I think to have something like that just felt like suddenly, right, we're maturing. You know, we're the audience maturing, they're maturing in front of our eyes.
Because
and
it's
that was
like you
really
were
clever.
You suddenly had this intimate moment. You were out of that kind of buzz of drunk people being drunk and all showing off in front of each other, and nightclubs and running around in the street shouting.
And actually, the lighting was better. You could hear what they were saying.
And then, you know, you start to get into this, and you start to really like and understand these characters. And then the film kind of sucker punches you, and it becomes this other film. And then by that point you're engrossed, and you're committed kind of to the action. You've kind of got on board. You know. So I just think it just does it so perfectly, the pacing, and it's so real. It is like that's.
And at that point, I think it does. There are moments where it gets a bit stupid. Like, you know, if you just saw the plot written down, you'd be like, that's ridiculous. But because they have got you by that point, exactly like you say, because you're committed, then it doesnn't matter. You forgive it for being stupid.
Well, also it's stupid. I don't know. I suppose it is. It becomes,
on paper it is stupid.
But then on paper, a lot of real life nights out would sound stupid.
Yes.
But when you're there, it doesn't look it, and in that way, it's that kind of, it's the realness of it. It's just I think it's amazing.
And it was nice watching this with you, because you'd seen it already and you were so in love with it, you know, and you were so trying to convince me to love it as well. And that's not always a good thing. But watching this with you, and it felt like because you were so invested still a second time around.
Yeah, I really just...
I felt like after that first 20 minutes when it was losing me, I was like, right, this is worth sticking with because Mike thinks it is.
I do totally get that in the first 20 minutes it could lose people, and that's why I'm emphasising so much that it's worth sticking by.
I'd
I think you need to watch it in a good environment. I think you really see it on a bigger screen with good sound. Ideally, a dark room, like a cinema would be a good place to sit. Genuinely, though, I think this isn't a film, though, that you should watch.
I love that you're like, oh, what would be good? Good environment, a dark room, really good sound. Oh, I think there's a word for that, you know. Oh, it's a cinema.
Well, the thing is, I watched it at home, though, but just lights down low, no interruptions. Again, I don't think you should pause it. I don't think you should pause to go to the toilet. You need to watch it in one go. Sound up. I think it's really important, and this is not a film that you can just watch on your iPhone or an iPad or on a train.
Weirdly, it's not, because even though it looks like it has been filmed on one,
you need to be engrossed.
You do, definitely.
And
don't get taken out of it.
Yeah, when you first start watching it, you might think, oh my God, what the hell is this? It looks like a student film or something.
And it does, but that's actually part of the appeal.
It's quite
by the
shaky
end of it.
camera work, and the sound isn't great, like you said, but stick with it, because actually it's so well done, and you know, there will be stuff about it that you'll think about more and more afterwards, and when I watched it a second time, it's just like you marvel at the feat, you know. Again, it's the choreography, oh my God, so now they've travelled to this building at this time, and these actors come into it, and then we go out into the street, and then we go into this, and then this event suddenly happens, and again,
and you just think at any moment because they are filming it at 4 a.m. in Berlin, so at any moment some drunken twat could have walked on and be like, "Oi!" and ruined it. And that would have been that, and that would have been a night's work over. And you're almost even more tense from that point of view. And there aren't that many other people that walk in and out of this just into, you know, randomers.
No,
but
although
when
more
they
than
do,
you think.
When they do, you get really sort of paranoid about it, and I don't know if that's a good thing or not, because you're constantly thinking about it. You're constantly being taken out of the film because you're wondering, how did they do this? How would I have done that? I don't know. There are bits, especially towards the end of the film, when it starts to get light outside, which I think is a really beautiful moment.
Which is another incredible thing.
You know, because they have to do it at 4:30 in the morning, and then it spans across the next 2.5 hours, and so it's 6:37, and so obviously the sun has started to come up, and I just think that's,
so it
I think
begins
it's
at
great
night and it
time.
finishes at day.
That's such a brilliant idea, you know, because it does make it seem so much longer than it actually is, and that makes it even more incredible that it's just all done in one take.
Yeah, it's absolutely, but I also think that isn't the only selling point of this film. Like, I know it's always now going to be referred to as that film that's one take.
Yes,
but
and it is the main selling point, though.
It is, but I do think it's really brilliant, though. Aside from that, I think it's just a really good, entertaining film and a good story.
If you took the same film, filmed in exactly the same way, and then put loads of edits in it and cuts and whatever, then you'd be watching this being like, why? It's not very good.
Well,
technically
depends.
It's not very good. It doesn't sound good. You know, you'd be then criticising it for all the technical aspects, as much as anything else, and then maybe thinking it was a bit far-fetched. The story, you know, but it is the feat of it that makes it more involving.
Yes,
I think.
Yes.
So you could argue it's a bit gimmicky.
No, I know what you mean. Like, obviously, the point of it is you're going to come out of it going, what an amazing feat, because of the one take. But I think also that is not just it. I don't think you finish it going, you know, it was clever, the one take thing, but other than that, there's not much to it. I don't know. I think there's more to it than that. More like Rope, for example, Alfred Hitchcock's Rope, which I think also had a really tense, engaging, fun story, as well as being this kind of technical marvel.
It's also quite inspiring because it's made by young people, it stars young people, and it kind of, exactly like you said, it makes me want to go out and do it. It makes me think, why can't I be doing things like that? And the thing is, you can.
Well, yeah, but also the thing is, it's not easy, and he's made it look easy. That's the other thing.
Yes,
I mean, but most of us probably couldn't do it as well as that. That's the thing, and that's because I don't want to downplay this film, because I think it's incredible.
Try.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't mean about the one take thing, but I mean going out and making a movie.
Yeah, totally.
You know, and I think that's where the technical, where it doesn't look so slick, is quite inspiring.
Definitely.
You think, well, he's managed to make a really good movie out of this.
Yeah, exactly.
What could I do?
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
So out of 10, are you going to give this 10?
Yes, I'm giving this 10 out of 10.
I'm giving it 8.
Yeah.
I think it is very, very good, and I would recommend it. And it is worth sticking with.
I would too, yeah. I really would stick with it. Just be warned, it is a cheap film, it is a low-budget film. But see it in the cinema if you can, and don't watch it with one eye on the TV and one eye on your phone or something, because you won't get anything out of it, I don't think.
You got cross whenever I picked up my phone.
Yeah, because it is not the film to do that. It is not the film to do that.